Something strange is going on in Cincinnati. What the heck are they going to do with linebacker Germaine Pratt? Welcome back into the Bengals Digest channel. I'm Carson Lokey. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. Obviously, at the start of this offseason, it was very much common knowledge that Cincinnati needed to make a lot of moves, including cutting some of their players to free up some cap space for players they need to bring in. And one of those names that was brought up about being cut, and at the time I was a little bit questionable of it, was Germaine Pratt. And even Germaine Pratt went on Twitter and was responding to these possible cut scenarios and kind of laughing at it. But now it seems like it's pretty much we're just waiting around for it to happen. But in May, we're sitting here in May, voluntary practices for the Bengals have already started, and Germaine Pratt is still on the roster. No, he didn't show up. He is not there at the workouts or the practices, and it's not because of injury, and it's not because of contract negotiations. It's because, well, he's kind of waiting just to be cut, and it kind of begs the question, what is Cincinnati doing with Germaine Pratt? And I think it's kind of simple. What they're doing, they have the luxury of patience, and I think you can't even say now, especially after the draft, drafting linebacker Demetrius Knight Jr. from South Carolina and then linebacker Barrett Carter from Clemson, they're overhauling the linebacker core. Germaine Pratt will not be on the Bengals in 2025. If he is, I would be extremely surprised. And why I wasn't saying no to it. I wasn't saying yes about it. A few months ago, I even said I'm indifferent towards it if we cut him or keep him. Because last season, I mean, he had a lot of tackles. He was like top 10 in tackles, 143 total, 80 solo, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, which he does a lot. And obviously with Germaine Pratt, we have to remember he solidified our first playoff win in 30-plus years with that interception against the Raiders. So Germaine Pratt's always going to be in some degree as the Bengals legend for winning us that game and 6 passes deflected last season. But why he's going to be cut is because he missed 18 tackles last season, a career high, which also was third most in the league. And every year he's missing more and more tackles and getting slower and slower to getting after the ball. And then as of right now, we're going to be paying him $5.3 million in 2025 with an $8.2 million cap hit for our salary cap. But if we cut him, we're going to take a $2.3 million dead cap space, so we just can't use that money at all. But we're going to save $5.9, so $6 million in the cap space. They've already restructured the contract with Zach Moss and Geno Stone, and if they do what is pretty much inevitable at this time, waiting for Germaine Pratt to be cut, that's saving pretty much almost $10 million with those 3 players, which could obviously just go straight to Trey Hendrickson. And then, like I said last video, we have enough to sign 1 or 2 more players in the free agency. So why I think Germaine Pratt is still on the roster in May is because the Bengals have the luxury. They can release him or cut him whenever. But let's say they wait until closer to the actual season and someone's linebacker on another team goes down with an injury, or they cut the team or get cut from the team, or for anything that happens, and they're just waiting for someone to come after Germaine Pratt. Germaine Pratt will not be on the Bengals in 2025. I can pretty much guarantee that. Like, once again, I'd be extremely surprised if he was. But Cincinnati is sitting in the perfect spot. It's interesting what they're doing with Germaine Pratt, but they had the luxury of just sitting around waiting for something to happen. It's always better to get something rather than nothing when you're losing a player. Even if that's a 7th-round pick or a 6th-round pick, that's better than nothing and just cutting him. Because even if you're trading him, then you're getting rid of that money and you're freeing up that cap space anyways. But then you're also going to get a pick with it. Now, Cincinnati, it's obvious their plan moving forward is not Germaine Pratt, or they wouldn't have drafted 2 linebackers in this year's NFL draft. So they're just waiting around. And I think it's honestly kind of perfect. I think teams don't value Germaine Pratt as much as, not saying the Bengals value him, but as of right now, teams are not valuing Germaine Pratt enough to trade for him. And I bet a lot of teams would try to convince Cincinnati to take up some of his contract. And if that's the offer, I'm just saying no, release him, and then you can pick him up, which are what teams are waiting for. It's kind of right now it's kind of a cat and mouse game where Cincinnati's just dangling Germaine Pratt like, hey, come make me an offer. I'll give me a 7th round pick, and I'll give you Germaine Pratt. Give me a 6th round pick. I'll give you Germaine Pratt. But teams are waiting for Cincinnati to get tired and be like, just release him, and then we'll go pick him up in free agency. But no, Cincinnati has all the leverage now. They can say no to whatever deal they get sent, and they have the ability to keep him as long as possible. Obviously, if we're getting to the point where it's about to be regular season, and he's about to take that $5.3 million and $8 million in that cap hit, just release him. At that point, it's not worth it. But Cincinnati's just waiting. They're seeing what happens the rest of the offseason. If a team is desperate for a linebacker, they'll trade. We just saw it with freaking George Pickens. Wow. I think I might just make a separate video about George Pickens leaving the Steelers and going to the Cowboys because that was crazy. But like I was saying, teams will get desperate for players. And for a player that is top 10 in tackles last season, teams will spend money for that. Teams will give up some picks for that, especially if they're desperate. If they lose 1 or 2 linebackers in the offseason and need a linebacker who's been proven to be a valuable asset to the defense, like right now, they will trade a 6th and 7th round pick. And that's what I'm asking for. If I'm Cincinnati, I'm waiting around for anybody to call me, be like, hey, give me a 6th round pick. Give me a 7th round pick, and I'll give you Germaine Pratt. You got to take the whole contract. If you're going to have me take any of the contract, the answer is no. And it should be no. If Cincinnati takes any of the contract in the trade, I think that's a stupid and it's a bad trade. But if we can take a team, fully take his contract, and we get a pick in return for Germaine Pratt, I think it's a win-win. That's why I think he's still on the roster right now, because Cincinnati has the leverage of just waiting. It's just kind of interesting. I thought he would have been released far by now. I thought he would have been cut before the draft. But Cincinnati's honestly, they're doing the smart thing, which is, let's be honest, Bengal fans, a lot less common than you would think. But I think Cincinnati's doing this perfectly. They have the leverage against any other team in this league for Germaine Pratt. They're going to cut him anyways. He's not going to be on the team. If it gets to the point where they cut him, that's fine. They don't really care. But they're just waiting to see what could happen. Because obviously, like I said, it's better to get something rather than nothing. But he's going to be removed. And I think that's kind of what's taken so long with this Trey Hendrickson contract negotiation, is they're waiting to maybe they're just waiting to release or trade Germaine Pratt, and they're just going to give all that money to Trey Hendrickson. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. Because it's obvious with the restructuring of Zach Moss and Geno Stone, Cincinnati is cooking up something. They're not, in my eyes, they're not just going to start restructuring contracts without an end goal in mind. I mean, you could say, yes, Cincinnati's just going to pocket that money, but I don't think they are. With how many players they are restructuring contracts with and what they're doing with Germaine Pratt, I think they're just playing the waiting game, waiting for as much money as they can get, seeing if they can get any picks or any value out of it, as well as adding money in the cap space, and then just give that all to Trey Hendrickson, sign him for a few more years. Then I think Cincinnati would have done the exact right thing. So that's what I think is going on with Germaine Pratt. I just think it's an interesting situation. I thought he would have been long gone by now. And like I said, even now, I mean, I would prefer him not take that cap hit because I would like us to sign Trey Hendrickson. But I'm kind of still in the middle where I really don't care either way. But with how they've done the draft and how they've discussed and the fact that he's not even there at workouts, Germaine Pratt's not going to be a Bengal in 2025. Cincinnati's just waiting around for that perfect opportunity to go get an extra pick and then have that cap space to give all the money to Trey Hendrickson to extend your superstar who was leading sacks last season and probably going to do it again next season, hopefully with the Bengals and not somewhere else, because he has no desire to play under this current contract. I don't think he would sit out. I think that would just ruin his career if he sits out. But I think Cincinnati's doing the right thing with Germaine Pratt. Let's just play the waiting game. Let's see what happens. If ultimately we just have to cut him or release him, that's fine. We're getting a lot of money back. Or if we trade him, get a pick, that's even better. So I think that's exactly what they're doing with Germaine Pratt. But thank you so much for watching this Bengals Digest channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Bengals Digest channel. We're booming. We're going up fast. We're on the road to 1,500. I know we can get there soon because all the love you guys have shown this channel, and I appreciate it more. Then, comment down below how you feel about Germaine Pratt and what Cincinnati is doing with Germaine Pratt. Do you agree with me, or do you think they're doing something else, or if they're actually going to keep Germaine Pratt for whatever reason? Let me know in the comments down below. But don't forget to once again subscribe. If you love the Bengals as much as I do, I'm going to be posting about the Bengals, talking about the Bengals every single day on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe. But for the Bengals Digest channel, I'm Carson Lokey. Have an amazing day, and God bless.